the kick, and that one through the end zone. So here come the Hokies. They lost a week ago in overtime at Vanderbilt, 34-27. They're led by the redshirt junior from Houston, Texas, a transfer from Baylor, Kyron Drones. Took over his first start in week 3 a year ago. They won 5 of their last 7, and he was spectacular.
And he's a guy you can get excited about quickly. Career high in completions and yardage last week. Only 22 completions, though. I think he needs to live in that range for this Hokie offense to find success.
Bhayshul Tuten, we'll call his name a lot today. First down, throw, and catch is made by Daquan Felton. And he's run out of bounds very close to the first down marker. He might be about a yard or 2 past it, and he is. Out to the 33, they mark it.
This is a Virginia Tech receiver unit that's deep. They got 3 guys they can get to right there. Felton, they love Ollie Jennings, and then Jaylin Lane in the slot as well. Pay attention to how aggressive this play calling is for the Hokies. Last week it was conservative.
Here is Tuten. He's a solid back, and he puts it on the ground. That ball came loose right as he crossed the line of scrimmage on a 2nd down and a yard. And let's see who comes up with it at the bottom of that pile. It looked like their center, Braylon Moore.
This is the perfect view right here. Great job by Marshall, defensive tackle, getting his left arm in there. Poor ball security by Tuten. I was about to love up on him. Got away with one there. Almost surprised the defense that he fumbled. The ball bounced around there for a few times.
Took a shot as he cuts it loose. Catch is made by one of 2 Gosnell brothers, and there's a penalty flag that comes in late. That's Steven, who had 3 catches for 72 yards a week ago. It's a gain of 5, but again, a penalty flag comes in.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 30. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's Jaden Yates.
Let's check it. Good move by Gosnell right there. Trying to get that extra yardage. Brush the face mask right there. And if you're Marshall, they played a clean game last week versus Stony Brook. So far, you missed an opportunity on the fumble and then a penalty right there to get this Hokie offense on the plus side of the territory.
Spot the ball at the 38-yard line. First down, Virginia Tech. Fake it to Tuten, and now Drones scrambling around, and he can do that. Flips it off to Tuten, and that's good defense right there by Marshall, starting in the secondary. And J.J. Roberts chops him down.
And you can see what we were talking about in the open, the downfield passing attack. It really took this Hokie offense a full quarter and a half to call their first vertical shot. They're getting to it quickly. Great pass protection by Tuten there, keeping that play alive. And Drones checking that football down.
Well, they called a gain of 1, so it's 2nd down and 9. Dump it off to the tight end. The other Gosnell, will be calling his name today, Benji Gosnell. His surgery last season after the opening game kept him from putting up some big-time numbers. They think he's got a chance to be a great one. He's only a redshirt sophomore. Gain of 4, 3rd down for Virginia Tech at the 33-yard line.
This is where Drones' legs become a factor, especially in fringe 4-down territory. It's always a factor.
Gosnell in motion. They're going to hand it off, and great penetration coming up into the backfield by Landon Watson. No gain. All right. Let me ask you, Max, you go for it now?
You got all the momentum on your side. I wouldn't mind going for it right here, especially when you have a quarterback like Drones. As we're seeing last week versus Vanderbilt, totally different story in the second half. Started off slow. This first drive has been such an emphasis for this Virginia Tech team. Got to start fast.
Tuten was split out. Now he'll stand alongside Drones on this 4th down. He pumps, and now he's going to be forced to run. Throws across his body, and it's batted down. What a defensive stop as Green McKnight saw it coming all the way, and I tell you what, that's a big-time turn of events for Marshall.
And I thought Drones had an opportunity to, if you throw this not on the line and right over Green McKnight, he had his guy on the sideline. You love the arm strength from Drones. You love his ability to make plays, but I thought he could have gone with a little bit more touch, but credit that nickel back, Jadarius Green McKnight for Marshall. Had 6 starts a couple years ago. One of the few returning guys that are not a transfer, but coming up with a big play there on 4th down.
All right, so now it'll be Stone Earl, a redshirt senior transfer from Abilene Christian. They play very fast, the Thundering Herd. They dump it off to Metcalf. Very short game, but they'll get right to the line of scrimmage.
And Metcalf's one of those impact players for the Thundering Herd. Smaller guy, only 5'6", but extremely quick. You're going to find him in the slot most of this game. This is an air raid attack by Seth Dagey, who came over from Purdue. He's part of that Graham Harrell, Mike Leach air raid tree. You're going to see a lot of tempo and a lot of passes in today's game.
Fake the handoff, throw it across the middle, had an open receiver there. So to bring up 3rd down. Let's go downstairs to Trump.
Obviously, some of the updates to the college football spaces here include the green dot on the helmet, the communication system that allows coaches to talk to players up to 15 seconds remaining in the play clock. With the 2 different quarterbacks that will both be working in for this Marshall offense, both have a comfortability with it, but it's also a newfound sort of space for everybody. They're trying to get the timing right, making sure the communication is efficient. Something to watch as they continue to sort out this quarterback situation at Marshall.
All right, this will be a 3rd down. After coming up defensively with a 4th down stop. 5-man rush. They lofted down the sideline. Appeared to be contact there and no call. Out in coverage, who had a rough time of it at Vanderbilt last weekend, is Mansour Delane.
And I saw the same thing you did, Tom. I saw some contact there at the end. They're fist fighting, grabbing right there on the collar. That could have been a missed call. He's tugging there on the chest. If you're a receiver, you might want to sell that a little bit. But Mansour Delane played a little bit of safeties, now settled in that corner for the Hokies.
Jaylin Lane waiting back on the punt. It's a good one, and he tumbles down after a fair catch at the 19-yard line. 46-yard punt by Alec Clark. 2nd possession for the Hokies. Was interviewing for the job. Pry was already on staff and was part of the interview process when Huff was hired.
I thought that was interesting too, with a linebacker coach interviewing a running back coach in Charles Huff. And Tom, he had a good one when he was at Penn State. Saquon Barkley had a good day at the office last night as well.
He sure did. In his debut as a Philadelphia Eagle, comes up with 3 touchdowns in that thrilling win. Drones looking around, now being chased, forced to roll right. He just throws it out of bounds. I tell you, they're creating some problems here for Drones early on. A reminder to you, closed captioning for CW Football Saturday is brought to you by Skechers Hands Free Slip-ins.
2 strong plays by the Thundering Herd defense to start this drive. You had a run through and a tackle by a linebacker, followed up by phenomenal lockdown coverage, just nowhere to go. Kyron Drones working through all 5 progressions, gets forced out, has to throw the ball away.
So 3rd down and 11. Malachi Thomas has checked into the game for the first time in the backfield. Only a 4-man rush all day to throw it. Now the pocket collapses. Drones is going to take off, and he's not going to get there. He's tackled at the 24-yard line, so after a 4th down stop on the first drive, it's 3 and out on the 2nd drive. And this looks eerily familiar for Virginia Tech for a week ago. Remember that first drive, they were driving down the field. They had a tip pass, it was intercepted. And then Coach Price said, I don't know what happened to our guys for a while there.
I think the end result is the same, but I noticed a different play calling style here. Last week, a lot more quick hitters. This week, it's full progression passes that are just covered, and that's the fine line because you're walking away after 2 series, and Bhayshul Tuten really only has 1 carry. That's the cat and mouse game you got to play if you're Virginia Tech.
Metcalf is a dangerous return man, plays it off the bounce, and then cuts it back up to the midfield to the 40-yard line. 45-yard punt and a good return of 10. Marshall with the football. We're in the opening quarter. Still no score. first down. A nice pickup. That's Elijah Metcalf. We're going to call his name a lot today.
Without a doubt, Tom, you can see right away they're trying to get the ball into number 9's hands. Strong block on the edge by Christian Fitzpatrick, number 16. Something to monitor, too. Trevor alluded to it. Marshall has a quarterback competition. Going with Stone for a second series.
And Stone at the line of scrimmage will bring up a third down for Marshall. Thundering Herd went 3 and out on the opening possession. That's the first touch by Jordan Houston.
Trevor alluded to the helmet communication, which cuts off at 15 seconds. With this crowd noise being a legitimate factor, be interesting to see how that translation happens today.
Robinson in motion, third down. They lofted towards the sideline. Good throw, a catch, and then the ball comes loose. Is that a live ball? Or did he step out of bounds? I think he caught it and then stepped out of bounds. That's exactly what happened. Christian Fitzpatrick with a reception.
So first, let's see if he secures the catch. 1-2. Looks like it was coming loose on that third move. But then the Virginia Tech defender tips the ball while he's out of bounds.
Well, they snap it quickly, and that could have been pay dirt for Robinson on the quick slant.
You're seeing right away why Stone Earl, I think, is the first quarterback out. Getting through his progressions quickly, accurate ball right on the receiver's face. He's getting through his progressions quickly and allowing these playmakers. They got a lot of transfer receivers on this Marshall roster. Transition into an air raid offense. They're not going to shy away from any challenge.
Second down and 10. 3 receivers to the top side, and they run it to Houston. And he's inside the 30, be a gain of 3, so another third down coming up. You talk about those wide receivers.
And so much of this run game in the air raid is just a box count. Perfect angle right there from the ump cam. And see that Hokie defense closing in quickly. So much of from the air raid is run game, just to keep you honest, really. They want to throw the rock. It's throwing the rock to open up the run game when most offenses the other way around.
4 receivers set. They've got them spread out. Blitz is coming. And chopped down at the 30-yard line. That'll be a loss of 2. Mose Phillips coming up to make the stop. That's off the safety blitz.
Chris Mark's defense heating things up. I thought Stone Earl missed Elijah Metcalf in the slot. Virginia Tech went all-man coverage across the board. They had a little rub route there. The Hokies heated things up. Stone Earl brought his eyes down. If he kept him up for just a half second, may have had a man there. Marshall's going to try to walk away here with some points.
This will be a 48-yard field goal try by Reese Verhoff out of the hold of the punter Alec Clark. Snapper Matt Bossett, and it has a distance, but it's wide right. So Marshall missing on a scoring chance. All right, it's nice to see our buddy Ron Pitts back there with you, Mike. Ronnie and I broadcast the National Football League for a number of years as partners together. Good man. And we're lucky to have him here at CW Sports. All right, a first down. And they hand it off to Malachi Thomas. He'll get some carries. Their main man, of course, is Tuten. But Thomas comes in to pick up 7. He got a lot of playing time to Thomas his freshman year. He rushed for almost 500 yards and got hurt the next season. Last year came back to play in 13 games, and you see offensively another slow start like last week for Virginia Tech. They give it to Thomas again, and he cuts it back to the left side. He's caught from behind, but not before he picks up a first down out to the 42, a pickup of 5.
And yeah, Tom, it's a delicate balance too. When you have these slow starts, I think it's so easy to hone in on them and be like, we got to change up practice and we got to do all these different things. But so, in my opinion, sometimes the more you focus on it, the more anxiety it comes, the more you're reading into those first couple possessions. And at the end of the day, when you have all the talent the Hokies have, you just want to go out there and play ball. Just go execute.
Boy, and they have some weapons offensively. Blitz coming. And Drones did he throw the football, or was that a fumble? Or are they going to call it a sack? That's an incompleted pass. Okay, Mike Green. And boy, they like him. They think Green, a transfer from Virginia, has a chance to be an NFL player.
Without a doubt, he is the impact player. As the refs are discussing right now, it sounds like there was a receiver in the area. Drones gets the ball out of his hands, but Mike Green is a guy to highlight all day. That edge rusher, 6'4", 250, so more of that hybrid linebacker, defensive end type body. Had a productive week last week, showing out early today.
So a 2nd down and 10 from the 42-yard line. And Tuten checks back into the game, looking to turn the corner. And he does. It appears to be right at the stick. He might be a yard short. I think they're marking it at the 49-yard line, so it'll bring up 3rd down and a yard.
And I like what Virginia Tech's doing here. The first 2 drives, heavy through the air mentality. And then they're getting back to their star player, Bhayshul Tuten. Get him the rock. You saw Malachi Thomas early on as well. This will settle down the whole offense.
So 3rd down, they call it 2, and Drones being chased, and he is sacked. So they elect to throw it on 3rd down. There were 3 receivers all the way down at the 25-yard line. No one underneath, and that was great coverage. And the sack, there's Mike Green again.
Mike Green and his buddy Landon Watson. That's 2 drives in a row. Landon Watson had the 4th down stop a couple drives ago. It was a concern for this Hokie offense. Linebackers running through gaps. When you have all this motion and misdirection, Vanderbilt took advantage of it a week ago. Seen a little bit of that again today.
I'm telling you, keep an eye on this punt returner today now. Elijah Metcalf is an electrifying talent with the football in his hands. It's a great punt. We'll call for the fair catch at the 12-yard line. Well, coming up Friday, September the 20th, we are thrilled to have the NASCAR Xfinity Series coming to the CW, and no better debut than Bristol Motor Speedway with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Jr. joins the field against the series' top drivers. Final playoff tune-up. NASCAR Xfinity Racing from Bristol. That'll be Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, September the 20th, 4 p.m. Pacific, only on the CW. Boy, we are thrilled to have it. And you see how everybody tightly bunched there? So that'll be coming your way a week from this Friday. I think we're going to have another punt. Did not see a flag to the near side of the field. It's an illegal formation penalty against Virginia Tech. So let's see how all this turns out. He made a fair catch at the 12-yard line a minute ago after nearly a 50-yard punt. Tell you another area Virginia Tech is so good, at least on paper, is their special teams.
And have been historically as well.
They have a great kicker, excellent punter, and Peter Moore. That's another good one. And Metcalf a fair catch, so they make out 3 yards on the deal. Some of the pictures, and this is such a beautiful part of America.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is just awesome. Our aerial coverage is brought to you by the Lucas Oil Helicopter. My wife and I came here last year, Polly and I did, and went hiking around the Appalachian Trail for 3 days. That's not too far down the road. Don't get me wrong, we weren't camping now.
Okay.
We didn't do that thing.
Okay, didn't do the whole experience?
No, but we were up there.
Yeah? Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we were going 8, 10, 12 miles a day.
No, this is as good of a venue as it gets in college football.
Boy, this place is nice. Earl, another series under center, and tries to thread the needle between Virginia Tech defenders. Had an eye on Metcalf, and Phillips again getting a hand on there. Not much going on offensively for either team. A little bit of noise to set up a field goal attempt, which had plenty of distance, but wide right by Verhoff.
Yeah, so much talk about the offenses going into this game. So far, it's been the defenses showing out. Marshall 3 plays that first drive, a little bit more a second drive. Neither offense finding momentum so far. Jordan
Houston takes a handoff and just nothing doing.
Walking out of last week's game, they love the way the defensive line played for the Hokies. This is really a 9-man rotation at the front 7 spot with 5 defensive tackles that they really feel like they can start any one of those guys. That depth is critical, especially when you talk about a full season versus an ACC that could be anyone's ball game. This is a front 7 they're really excited about.
3rd down and 10.
It's time for them to pin their ears back and get after this quarterback.
They come after him and he just throws it away. Penalty flag comes in. Wonder if that wasn't a late hold.
And something to monitor too. If it's holding while the quarterback's in the end zone, that could be safety. Something to be wary of.
Holding. Offense, number 70. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
Okay, so 3 and out. After the good punt.
And not insignificant that they gained 5 yards on the previous Virginia Tech punt. Give your punter a little bit more room to operate. Let's check out this hold. Yeah, it's clear as day right there, right tackle. Jeremy Jones. Again, we talk about these edge rushers for Virginia Tech. Antoine Powell-Ryland heating things up.
Clark puts a foot on it. And Lane from the 32 dances through one tackle, dances through another, still on his feet, and tripped up from behind. Right in midfield. 45-yard punt, an excellent return. You want to join us next week now. We are mighty excited. Big time, prime time matchup on the CW network. Wake Forest host Heisman hopeful Jackson Dart and the 6th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels in Winston-Salem. Ole Miss ranked number 6 in the country. That's 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. CW football Saturday. Fired up for that one.
Jackson Dart's a special talent. Put up a lot of points last week. That'll be a fun one.
Terrific defense. Loss of 4. And that's Dayton Smith coming up to make the tackle. We look at the top 10 going into this weekend. Notre Dame is trailing. Texas put a stomping on Michigan today.
Yes, they did. The Ducks slide back just a little bit for the sluggish performance a week ago. Interesting to see how they respond versus Boise. You mentioned Ole Miss. That's a team that's real exciting. And Texas living up to all the offseason hype so far through 2 weeks.
But we're going to see Lane Kiffin and company next Saturday. High throw. You know, that's one thing that Drones really wanted to work on. I mean, his rushing numbers were through the roof. His passing numbers were really good. But his accuracy is an area he's trying to get better. He was just at 58% a year ago. And
it's just so tough because you turn on the film and you love his arm strength, throws a beautiful ball. But right there, those are just hitch completions you got to have, because instead of having 3rd and 5, 6, 7, you're having 3rd and long. And it's a tough spot to be in for your offense.
3rd down and 14. Drones has missed on his last 4 throws. This is an easy completion, but that play's not going anywhere to Jaylin Lane. And some of the Bluebirds here at Lane Stadium coming out. They witnessed this exact same kind of thing 1 week ago at Vanderbilt.
Credit this Marshall defense. They're not backing down. We're seeing a lot of different guys get involved. D.V. Harris right there stopping the screen. And Coach talked about it all week. They're not going to back down. They're not going to reinvent the wheel just because they're playing a higher opponent. They have a lot of guys on this roster that once wore a Power 4 jersey. They're up for the task.
So Moore back on the punt. Metcalf stands inside his own 15. Hokies had flipped the field position and couldn't do anything. They went backwards. This one will check up, and it's down to the 15.
Down on the 15-yard line.
Hey, look, if you're looking for a cable news network that will respect whatever your opinion might be, far right, far left, they've got it all covered and everything in between, then you have a new home, and that is News Nation. See why News Nation is America's fastest growing cable news network. To find News Nation on your screen, go to joinnn.com.
Marshall going to go with Stone Earl again for his 4th possession. That's what they did last week. Don't forget about Braylon Braxton, the other quarterback. By all accounts, they very much have a quarterback competition. I think they're being wary of trying to get one of these quarterbacks momentum and in rhythm.
Lay it off out of the backfield to Metcalf, and he is dropped for a big loss inside the 10-yard line.
Keontae Jenkins on the stop there, plays the nickel spot for the Hokies. Keep an eye on this safety position in general. Jalen Stroman, their star safety, he's out this game, so some younger guys are going to have to step up. Keontae Jenkins showing that he's got some skill to him.
Check in here in a second with Trevor. About half the field in sunshine and half of it in the shade. Back shoulder throw, and that is incomplete. Trevor?
Fellas, you mentioned the quarterback competition over there at Marshall, and Coach Huff mentioned in our conversations that it's not the old adage of if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1. Both of these cats, and both Bray and Stone, have a command of the huddle, have a command of the offense, have a command of the entire team that is respectable. It's why these decisions have come down to dang near game day on a Saturday-by-Saturday basis thus far.
Yeah. It's a tough spot to be in right now. 3rd and forever. 3rd down at 16. They need to get out to the 25-yard line. Catch is made, but minimal gain out across the 15. Pickup of 7. It gives them a little breathing room for the punt. Another 3 and out. A defensive dominated opening quarter with 25 seconds left in it.
And the refs are letting them play. I thought Delane was physical out there on the previous 2nd down incompletion. It's a physical game so far.
Punters have been very busy. And breaking loose is Lane. He's inside the 30. The 15, he'll go for a touchdown. There are penalty flags on the field. Back at the 35-yard line. We wait on the penalty. They got a little excited with Skipper the Cannon down there.
You got 2 of them. What a play by Jaylin Lane, though. If you can't get him the rock offensively, give him a shot on special teams, he'll take advantage.
Transfer from Middle Tennessee.
There are there are 2 fouls, both on Marshall. Sideline warning, kicking team. Personal foul, face mask, kicking team, number 98. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. The result of the play is a touchdown.
So it is a punt return for a touchdown. 58 yards for Jaylin Lane.
And I thought I saw that. It was Alex Clark, the punter, doing anything he could to stop Jaylin Lane. Ended up doing a face mask. Can't do that. Jaylin Lane, that's one way to spark this Hokie offense when you're stagnant, not having any momentum. Special teams showing out.
John Love wearing that legendary number 25. That is in honor of their Hall of Fame coach for so many years. A player here who wore 25, of course, Frank Beamer, who's going to be joining Trevor in just a few minutes down on the field. That was the final play of the opening quarter, and Love trying to put an exclamation point on it, and he does. Well, if your offense can't get it going, conference.
Coast to coast now.
Coast to coast now here on the CW Network. After the penalty, they kick it off from the 50, and that went back through the end zone. Take a look at some of the numbers in the opening half, and really not much going on. Max Brown offensively.
Without a doubt, what sticks out to me is just the 18 pass yards for Virginia Tech. Just such an emphasis, and you can feel it with the play calling. They're trying to get down the field, but Marshall's not letting them have anything. Obviously, negative rush yards for Marshall's not ideal, but again, they're an air raid attack, and that 3rd down, those are money downs. 0 for 4 Virginia Tech, just 1 for 5 for Marshall. Who can be better in that category is going to go a long way to decide who wins this game.
Both Stone Earl and Braylon Braxton, the 2 quarterbacks, threw a pair of touchdowns last week. In fact, they had Cole Pennington, yes, the son of Chad Pennington, who also threw a touchdown last week. First big run of the game, and it is a good one. And laid out is A.J. Turner. He's the guy you may remember after they had the long weather delay for about an hour and a half. On the very first play after the delay, he ripped off an 80-yard touchdown run.
That's the luxury of having iPads on the sideline and being able to game plan in the locker room. They wasted no time. Strong run right there by Marshall, led by their lone returning starter up front, Logan Osborne, at the center position, leading the way.
It's a 21-yard gain on first down. They'll give it to him again. Why not? Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Kelvin Gilliam, the first one there.
My sense with why Marshall's sticking with Stone Earl again for the 5th possession in this game is I think when push comes to shove, they trust him just a little bit more in the passing game, a little bit more getting the ball out of his hands, getting through his progression, and not taking sacks or not putting the ball in jeopardy. Braylon Braxton's the better athlete. Yes, Stone's legs are still a factor, but I think you're seeing right here just the ever so slightly more the trust they have in him.
Second down and 10. Quarterback keeper, and you talked about he can't run it a little bit, maybe not as well as Braxton, but he's able to pick up 7 yards, which brings up a 3rd down and 3. Jones on the stop.
This time last week we saw his legs right there, but on these third and shorts, the quarterback draw game was very much a factor. Not sure it's going to be there today with Virginia Tech very much packing the box and man coverage on the outside. These receivers are going to have to win.
Well, they are stacked up at the line of scrimmage. They're coming after him, and it's batted down. That was Kelly Lawson, their top tackler in the opening game loss at Vanderbilt. He's a good one.
This is straightforward. They're just bringing pressure, man on the back end, bringing 6 guys. Marshall doesn't have enough bodies to pick him up and forcing this receiver unit. Stone's getting the ball out of his hands. He's trying to attack his hots. But this is Virginia Tech just saying, hey, we're better than you defensively to your Marshall offense, forcing the Thundering Herd to execute.
Lane, who brought back the punt, 58 yards for a touchdown. The game's only score, stands back inside of his own 10. They're going to kick it towards the sideline. I mean, you're going to let that cat run it back again? And this will bounce through the end zone. 48-yard boot. We're just underway in the second quarter in Blacksburg, Virginia. 7-0 home team. It's a possession here in the second quarter. It's a 58-yard punt return for a touchdown by Jaylin Lane, our only score of the game. Tuten in the backfield, and they'll hand it to him off to the left side. Good gain for Tuten, and he is all the way up to the 40-yard line. That'll be a gain of 19 for Bhayshul Tuten, the senior from Paulsboro, New Jersey.
I love this run game concept. They're going to bring Benji Gosnell, the tight end, and add him as an additional blocker right there in the hole. Just an extra hat. Bhayshul Tuten takes advantage.
Jabari Ishmael is injured for Marshall.
Saw the Chiefs and Andy Reid do that run game concept with Travis Kelce, and it's interesting. If I'm Tyler Bowen, Virginia Tech's offensive coordinator, I think you're stuck a little bit in terms of what's the identity of my offense? Do I want to be a drop-back team and let Kyron Drones show why he's an NFL quarterback? Do I want Drones' legs to be involved in more of the quick passing game we saw last week versus Vanderbilt? Or do you look back and say, hey, I have 2 great running backs. I want to lean on those guys as well. I think they're still figuring that out in just the second game of the season.
So a 19-yard gain on first down. D.B. Harris takes over for the injured Ishmael. And they'll try Tuten again. Why not? It'll be a gain of close to 5, maybe closer to 4. You know, you look at Drones last year, he did not begin the season as a starting quarterback. His first start was in week 3. He rushed for 74 yards. He threw for 190 in a loss to Rutgers. In fact, he lost his first 2 starts. But then the game against your guys, the Pitt Panthers. That was a breakout game. 3 touchdown passes. He ran for 2 touchdowns. And they were off and running. Went 5-3 the rest of the way. That one was failure right from the start. They were lucky to pick up 2.
Feels like this Virginia Tech offense just needs a big play to open up everything. That's really what happened last week versus Vanderbilt. A home run shot allows everyone to just settle down, allows everyone to just take a deep breath. Some of those mishaps where you're dropping snaps happen when you're just kind of thinking so much at the quarterback position.
Drones 5 of 9 for just 18 yards, so they haven't been able to pick up much of anything in regard to a big play except for the punt return. Fake punt, and being chased again is Drones, and he throws it at the last instant. And I'm wondering if they're going to say this was a sack. Nope, now they say incomplete pass.
Fourth down.
And we told you a little while ago, Max, this Mike Green, they believe he's playing on Sundays next year.
Without a doubt, and it's really him and his buddy. Again, Landon Watson, another third down, 9 and 15. That's 2 third downs in a row, back-to-back possessions where they're all over Drones, even getting blocked and then back up. Credit the activity of this Marshall defense. They know that when it's third down, if Drones holds on to that ball, they're coming.
Elijah Metcalf waiting on the Peter Moore punt. I think the officials are still trying to talk about this thing here. I mean, did one official see it as a sack before he threw the ball falling down?
Intentional grounding.
Ah.
Offense. The quarterback got out of the pocket, but the pass did not reach the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of down at the spot of the foul. Fourth down.
It's a great explanation right here. Even though he gets out of the pocket, so he breaks to the left of the left tackle, he's good. But even there, you can throw the ball away, but it's got to get past the line of scrimmage. He doesn't do it, and again, credit the activity from this Marshall defensive line. He's looking to his left, steps up. No one's open, trying to work backside to 26, Aiden Green, but because of the pressure, he's not able to get the ball past the line of scrimmage.
So they give Green credit for a sack on that play. That's the official scoring on it after the intentional grounding penalty. Was a great punt. And Metcalf the fair catch right at the 16-yard line. 46-yard boot. Marshall looking for something to get going. Do they stay with Earl? Do they go with Braxton at quarterback? We'll know when we come back.
Played for the national championship. So very, very happy they're back and very proud of them.
A Big East championship, just the second undefeated season in school history. When you look back at this stadium, this environment, this fan base, how much do they mean to you?
Isn't it great today? I mean, I went, my son coaches in South Carolina, and I went to a game there like Friday night and came here on Saturday. And I told my wife, I think we just went to the 2 best stadiums in fan involvement and singing and dancing and jumping, you know, having fun. I mean, it just doesn't get any better.
Beautiful thing, Coach. Appreciate the time sincerely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Boy, he's something else. Jaylin Jones in coverage there on a second down throw. It brings up third down and 10. I remember I had a chance to call a couple of the BCS games that Beamer brought Virginia Tech. They won the Orange Bowl, and having a chance. Trevor, you just met him for the first time. That was the first time many years ago that I met him, and man, he makes an impression in a hurry.
What an era that was for Virginia Tech football. And whenever I see Michael Vick on the big screen like we just did, I always wonder, what would he be like in today's era of football? He was very much ahead of his time, but in the wide open, spread, air raid, he was fun to watch then. Would have been even more fun, I'd argue, now.
Frank Beamer, the head coach at Virginia Tech from 1987, stepped away in 2015. And look, let's be honest about it. The program has not been the same since. They just haven't been. And this was a bona fide powerhouse contending team under Beamer for decades.
Without a doubt, and it's so impressive. I mean, you're talking decades, different eras, football's evolving, but Frank Beamer continued to win. 238 career wins. They had a role in the ACC and inducted in 2018 to the College Football Hall of Fame. Well deserved. He mentioned it. His son coaching at South Carolina, head man there. His roots are everywhere throughout college football.
You got a little politician in him too. For him to step on national TV in the two best places in the world.
I'm sure there's some people that would vote for him. Oh yeah, he'd get some votes.
You know, you look at 3 different conferences he coached in. You just saw the 4 titles in the ACC, won 3 in the Big East, won 5 in the Coastal Carolina. Win, win, win. This is a 3rd down and 10. Earl has missed on his last 8 throws. Make it 9. I tell you what, these defensive backs are having a day. Dante Levette to make the batted ball there.
This is an absolute clinic tape all afternoon of what man coverage should look like. And you said it, Tom, these DBs are getting after him. But Lovett's he's a backup. He's a reserve corner. But the play before that, Jaylin Jones, he's a reserve safety, having to step up today. This is a deep back end for Virginia Tech showing out.
Punt from just outside the goal line, and a short one. Let's see where they spot this. Sideline running further and further into Marshall territory, still running, and slams on the brakes of the 35.
It's really the first bad punt we've had today.
And we've had a pile of them. And around Blacksburg, Roanoke, Salem, Virginia. First down penalty flag. Ball thrown out of bounds. As Green McKnight was chasing Drones, who's had a very quiet game. There have been 11 possessions in this game, 9 of them resulting in punts.
You just can't get any momentum going if you're this Virginia Tech offense. They're trying to get Drones on the edge, roll him out, allow his legs to be a factor and his arm be a factor, but then you stub your toe right there. You had all the momentum on the plus side of the field. Now you're going to be back on the 50-yard line.
It's Parker Clements, 3rd-year starter at right tackle. He only allowed 3 sacks all of last year. We talked about the numbers so far for Drones. I mean, they were expecting and still are expecting huge things from this Virginia Tech offense. They saw it in the second half last week at Vanderbilt. But not today. Here's Tuten. He's been their best weapon on just a couple of carries. He's down to the 40-yard line. He picks up 10 after the penalty.
The cam, you're going to see it again, that tight end action coming in motion. Then he's a lead blocker. Tuten does a good job of cutting back a little bit. The mentality whenever you're behind the sticks is get half back. It's a good job by the Hokie offense to do that.
Trevor knows about getting a handoff and breaking some tackles, and here's Tuten. And he's Tuten all the way down to the 15-yard line. That's the way Trevor Scales used to run it.
Yeah, Tom, about 15, 20 pounds ago, but that's neither here nor there. Tuten is looking great out there. Funny enough, Ron Crook, the offensive line head coach for Virginia Tech, was my offensive line coach back at Harvard at that time. He lives and dies by the hat-on-a-hat mentality. He gets those guys going and really has a sound approach to each and every aspect of the run game.
You know, Trevor, you got it all going. Good looking, Harvard education.
He can still run the rock, too.
That's right. Where can I sign up for that?
I saw it on his Instagram yesterday. He's squatting nearly 300 pounds.
Oh, he's got it going on. Tuten smashed to the ground after a gain of 3, maybe 4.
And that's one thing Marshall's going to have to monitor is, yes, the pass rush has been awesome. Yes, their 3rd down pressure has been great, but you've got to earn the right to get to 3rd down, earn the right to pin your ears back and rush the passer. Got to stay stout in the run game, especially as you get into the red zone. And it gets more difficult for the Virginia Tech offense to execute.
2nd down after a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. And they fake it to Tuten, and they drop it off out of the backfield, and it'll be first and goal as Jaylin Lane is stopped at the 2-yard line.
I like this action. It's an easy throw for Kyron Drones, using his legs, almost like a triple option. He could give the jet sweep, could run by himself, or pitch it out, throw it out to Jaylin Lane. Marshall not allowing him to get in the end zone quite yet, and right here's got to be where Kyron Drones' legs become a factor. He talked about the legs come out when it's time to convert third downs and convert touchdowns, and this is certainly one of those scenarios.
They look like they're lining up for Tuten, but we'll see. They fake it to him, and he uses those legs and flips the ball. Was he beyond the line of scrimmage? I think he was. And if that's the case, that is a huge penalty. Gosnell caught it.
I think they're going to get him for illegal blocking by that receiver. Came down to crack back against Marshall defender.
Yep.
Number 9, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's Quan Felton.
Yeah, it's a tough dynamic right here with this play call. If you're this receiver on the outside, he's trying to help his quarterback out by getting involved with the block, but then you can't decleat a Marshall defender and then throw this football. So right there, that's a clear block. That's not even a rub route. That's illegal. And the illegal blindside block portion is if you are outside the tackle box, you can't come in there and then just clean someone's clock who's inside the tackle box. Got to be starting within the tackle box to be able to get away with a block like that.
That's a good rule.
Safety.
No doubt about it. So
Player
that's a
safety.
big penalty, man. That's 15 yards. So it's first and goal now from the 17-yard line. Fake it to Tuten, and Drones spins out of trouble. He's in more trouble. He's still in trouble. Looking around, a pump fake, and just throws it out of bounds. Tell you, Marshall's defense has really played well in this game.
They have, and there was some sort of miscommunication there. Kyron Drones went to pull this ball like it was an RPO run-pass option, but there was no receivers to the left-hand side. Not sure if that's on Drones, not sure if that's on the receivers or whatnot, but that whole offensive line was anticipating the run or getting the ball quickly out of your hands. He's lucky the offensive line didn't get going downfield. Oftentimes when you see that dynamic, you get illegal offensive linemen downfield, and that could be another penalty.
115 total yards of offense for the Hokies. Roughly half that for the Thundering Herd. Catch and a spin move by Tuten. He's able to stay on his feet and pick up a couple of more yards, but it's going to be third and goal from just inside the 15-yard line.
That is the #1 trait that sticks out to me about Bhayshul Tuten, the balance, the body control. Feels like the first man never, ever tackles him. 77 total yards today. The entire rest of the team, only 40. You like the fact that Tuten's getting involved, but you obviously want his buddies too as well.
So Tuten will come out. Malachi Thomas checks in, standing alongside Drones. Third and goal, 15-yard line.
Looks like Marshall's going to go with a softer approach coverage-wise.
And they call a timeout. They Marshall. Like to remind you, CW Game Night begins on Thursday, October the 3rd. First at 8 o'clock, Raven Simone hosts a classic Hasbro crossword game, Scrabble, followed by Trivial Pursuit at 9. That's hosted by LeVar Burton. It's Game Night, and it's only on the CW. A Trivial Pursuit guy.
I was going to ask you the same. I can dabble a little family trip at the lake or something, break out Trivial Pursuit and make it happen. I'm no
science,
stud,
technology guys.
Far from it. Give me the sports.
Yeah.
More sports.
Right.
Maybe a little bit of pop culture since I married my wife. She educates me a little bit.
You guys are all over pop culture, you and your bride.
Yeah, a little bit of TikTok, social media. You give me some TikTok questions, I might be able to answer those. We got to lean on you for the science and all those questions.
Oh, yeah. I can't spell science. All right, so here we go. Third down and goal from the 15 after the Marshall timeout. Drones looking around, and he is smothered all the way back to the 25-yard line.
And that was the first time that Marshall on a third down really only rushed 4 guys. They're just overpowering this Virginia Tech offensive line, which is a little bit surprising. Look at this. Just 4 guys rushing the passer. That's all you need, and it's a bull rush right there in the center.
Cameron Chimura coming up with a sack. So this will be a 42-yard field goal try by Love. He's among the very best in the country. He was perfect last week, missed 2 field goals all of last season. And this one right down the middle. And that'll tack on 3 more for Virginia Tech. So they had first and goal at the 2-yard line, Max. And look, you were a quarterback at USC, you were a quarterback at Pitt. You know, you get down there at the 2-yard line, man. How do you feel walking off knowing you just got 3?
You're pissed off, especially when you bring it in the context of the whole game where you have yet to find consistent offensive momentum again in the first half. And we said in the open, this is an offense that had tons of expectations because of their quarterback, because of the running backs that we've talked about a bunch, offensive line you felt fine about, and then receivers that we really haven't talked that much about today. No. So walking away extremely disappointed, and I said it earlier on in the quarter, I still feel like they're searching for their identity. Feels like there's just so much you can get to from an offensive play caller mentality, but you gotta rein it in. You gotta try to figure out, hey, how can I unlock this offense? And to me, I think they need a big play to allow everyone to settle down.
Well, you know, this was a Virginia Tech team that returned 20 starters from a year ago. We told you they won 5 of their last 7. They blew out Tulane in their bowl game, the Military Bowl. Drones finishing so strong, so excited. And there were some out there, the so-called quote-unquote experts, that had picked Virginia Tech to reach a 12-team college football playoff. And of course, that is still very much a possibility. It's only the 2nd game of the year. And Virginia Tech eyeing a potential ACC conference championship. They haven't won one of those since 2010. Blasted through the back of the end zone.
Ball goes through the end zone for a touchdown.
All defense today, Max Brown.
The Marshall Thundering Herd have showed up today, no hesitation, and they've been heating things up on Kyron Drones all day. And it started with Mike Green. We knew he was their impact player coming into this game, and he has lived up to the billing, showing NFL scouts what he can do. But even that, the pressure that Marshall's been able to create to allow this secondary to play downhill hasn't really felt like they've been forced to defend deep down the field. And really at every level for this Marshall defense, playing a good game today. Outside of just the punt return, that's really it. Marshall's defense hasn't blinked. 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, not allowing a talented quarterback to get going.
And they stay with Stone Earl, speaking of quarterback. They try it on the ground. That's a nice pickup on first down by A.J. Turner. Gain of 4.
And if Marshall's going to score points in this ball game, they got to win those one-on-one matchups on the outside. Yes, a run play like that to A.J. Turner, you know, gives you some comfort, allows you to get to second manageable and stay on schedule. But at some point, you're going to have to unlock one of these mini transfer receivers they went in the portal and got.
When you look at some of the places they got them from, Florida State, Kentucky. Fake the pitch, quarterback will keep it, cuts it back up across the 32. That'll be a gain of 4. So this is a lot more manageable than they've been staring at most of the day. 3rd down and a pair.
Without a doubt, I said it earlier, don't sleep on Stone Earl's legs in this dynamic. And if they're going to give man coverage again, look for rub routes. Try to get Elijah Metcalf, number 9 in the slot. Try to break him free. Doesn't necessarily just have to be a vertical route on the sideline.
Just 1 for 7 on 3rd down, Earl and the Thundering Herd. This is a 3rd down and 2. And Earl's going to run it. And depending on the spot, he needed to get to the 35-yard line. He leaned forward after the tackle was made, and they are going to spot it a full yard short. Now you got to punt it.
Got to punt it, and it's just a tough play call. The drop works, and it's a good play call when the box is light from the defense, and the defense is dropping back heavy. Seth Dagey, Marshall's offensive coordinator, just run out of answers in terms of plays he can get to move this ball down the field. credit this Virginia Tech secondary for putting pressure, and then the defensive line for showing out there.
Lane has already returned a punt, 58 yards for a touchdown in this game. They angle it near the sideline. 20-yard punt his last time, much better this time. And that ball pops out of bounds at the 28-yard line. 38-yard punt. Trevor, what's happening?
So much of that offense with Marshall is based upon spacing, right? We talked about it a lot ahead of the game, Max. Finding those mismatches, being able to count out the box, and that run game, that choice specifically had to be based on what the quarterback saw number-wise within the box.
And it's a great point. Spacing sounds all good when they're running zone and, you know, you can find those windows, but this is nothing fancy. It's Virginia Tech really going man across the board, and it's can you beat me man-to-man?
Malachi Thomas stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go.
Malachi Thomas.
Thompson again showing out in the defensive line. That was an area of emphasis for this Virginia Tech offensive line. Is come off the ball, get going in the run game, get your combination blocks. Haven't necessarily seen that consistently so far through the first half.
You talked about some of the transfers. You look on this defensive line alone. Ishmael transfer from Miami of Florida. Gibson transfer from Kentucky. A TCU transfer and Landon Watson. I mean, they've got some guys from some big-time programs. We talked about Green, a transfer from Virginia.
2 Colorado transfers as well. It's literally like my entire board on the defensive line is highlighted with transfer movement. And obviously Deion Sanders is well documented with the guys he's bringing in and the changes he's made. But guys like D.V. Harris and J.J. Hawkins, backup defensive lineman for Marshall, getting a second chance with the Thundering Herd.
This appears to be a very big play for Marshall in this first half. A chance to get off the field, get the football back. Decent field position, down by 10, under 4 minutes to play. And blown dead before it ever got started.
Ball start. Everybody with the center. Offense.
When your offense is playing stagnant, little mishaps like that have a tendency to pile up on one another. Tyler Bowen seeing right there, Virginia Tech's offensive coordinator just trying to search for momentum. How do you unlock all this talent? Get the ball moving.
Punt return for a touchdown and a field goal. And next to no offense. 3rd and forever, and Drones. Oh, that should have been intercepted. I'm not sure if he was trying to get it to his wide receiver, Jennings, along the sideline. But this could have easily been picked off.
And once again, Mike Green, our buddy, 15 with an inside rush, and he's got to throw that ball out of bounds. Ian Foster, the DB for Marshall, he's going to be pissed off at himself for not coming down with that one. And Tom, honestly, when I see that throw from Kyron Drones, that's a byproduct of a quarterback that's just pressing. He's trying to make a play. He throws that ball out of bounds into the stands every single time in practice, but he's trying to make something happen, but you can't force the issue.
Okay, so Metcalf stands back at his 35-yard line, and they blocked the punt. Picked up at the 5, and then it bounces out of bounds, and it'll be first down and goal for the Thundering Herd. The 2 biggest plays of this game have come on punts. Punt return for a touchdown, and now Marshall with a chance to get on the board. And look at Coach Huff.
He's fired up because Amir Foster, his gunner on the bottom of the screen, times this up perfectly. Look at 41 to the bottom of the screen, sells out. He started that play lined up on the very outside, about to block the gunner for Virginia Tech. Motions inside, times the snap. Amir Foster selling out and coming up with a huge play for the Thundering Herd.
How about that? Well, this has been a lifeless Virginia Tech offense here today.
And again, staying with Stone Earl, where Braylon Braxton, the other quarterback, much more of a physical running quarterback, wouldn't be surprised if they get to him on this drive.
They're going to throw it. And that's a flag that comes in. Brian Robinson, the intended receiver, delayed in coverage. And And the Virginia Tech DBs have been all over
Fire
the
to
field.
pass. Holding. Defense. Number 4. After the 6 goal. Automatic first down.
See Mansour Delane being physical, again, tugging that jersey. I thought he got away with one in the first quarter. Gets called on it there. I don't mind the call necessarily, just got to be consistent throughout the whole game.
So now first and goal from the 2. And look at that backfield formation. And sneaking into the end zone is Ethan Payne. He has been their main man on the ground, their most experienced returning rusher. We haven't called his name all day long, and now we do.
And Tom, when you see a running back with no gloves, you know it's a certain mentality of I'm a short yardage back, gonna run right at you. Nothing fancy. I know we've talked about the air raid, but this time they're having 3 backs in the backfield, 2 tight ends, Ethan Payne behind him. And they're taking advantage of a huge special teams play to get in for the touchdown.
Verhoff for the point after. Payne from Polka, West Virginia, former West Virginia High School Player of the Year. He's in his final season, and the point after is good. Don't look now, everybody. But Charles Huff has his Marshall Thundering Herd very much alive in this game.
He's juiced up. What a timely call that was, too. That was not just your normal rush on that punt block. They called that in that specific time. Just so well executed. Well executed punt return by Virginia Tech early on in this game. And then again, Amir Foster starts outside your screen, and he was literally on the right sideline, and then he's going to come into your screen right there. 41 times it up perfectly. The reserve backup safety, they must have saw something on the film and said, when you're backed up, when Virginia Tech's backed up, you're hugging your own end zone, that's the time where you want to dial up a punt block, because if you get it, like we just saw right there, it's easy to cash in on the back end.
Coach Huff has had some monster wins in his career, and we said it's only been 3 years so far. Remember, he went on the road and beat Notre Dame in South Bend 2 seasons ago.
They're no stranger to these types of games.
No, and last year they knocked off these Virginia Tech Hokies. 3:19, so a long time to play until halftime. And of course, in the college game, we now have the 2-minute timeout. This will be Thomas from the goal line. Great coverage downfield by the Thunder. And man, they are fired up.
They might have 30 guys on the field right now. They've got belief. They've got momentum. If you're Charles Huff, that's all you want in the first half. You know this is going to be a 4-quarter ball game. But if you can go into halftime with momentum, that's a win in itself. And you're going to need to finish out this first half. 3 minutes left. Virginia Tech's offense has yet to get rolling. Your defense is rocking and rolling, though. And for Virginia Tech, they had 2 2-minute drives a week ago, one to end the game, and one in the first half. That was a point of emphasis this week in practice. Did an extra period of working on 2-minute.
Bhayshul Tuten will watch his drone, fakes a couple of handoffs, and takes it himself, crossing the 20. Only a gain of 3. Mike Green again on the stop. Green has been really the best player on the field for either side when that defense is out there for the Thundering Herd. We have an injury down on the field. And that is Tyquez's legs.
One of those backup defensive tackles.
Another transfer from Austin Peay, but he came 3 years ago. Very versatile player, 3-year starter, and a redshirt junior.
Let's see what happened to him to get rolled up on at the end. Always worried about knees and ankles in this situation, especially with Mike Green coming from the backside and kind of gator tackling him, gator rolling a little bit. It's always the concern for both offensive and defensive linemen. Do your knees and ankles get rolled up on?
Hopefully he's all right. Looks to be.
And that's a group that's played really well. That's always the concern when you're playing a lower level team. And I know Marshall's had a lot of success and is a successful program in their own right, but it's that interior offensive and defensive line. Can you hang up there? Receiver wise, there's playmakers everywhere at all levels, but can you hang offensive and defensive line on the inside? So far the answer for Marshall's been yes.
Well, I think you can make the argument that they have owned this Virginia Tech offensive line today.
Good point.
Same the other way. Pickup of 3 at 2nd down and 7. Tuten takes a swing pass and is run out of bounds at the 24-yard line, and Tuten getting tangled up down there.
This could have easily been a 15-yarder. Marshall's got to be careful. His buddy Josh Moten, the corner in there, is mixing things up. Jadarius Green McKnight lost his helmet. What happened is Ollie Jennings was blocking him. Green McKnight was the nickel. Ollie Jennings blocked him into the stands. Could have got called for a 15-yarder. I thought it was excessive. Green McKnight comes up with no helmet.
And there's still 5 guys coming out of that sideline.
And we're going to see the replay. You're going to see Ollie Jennings in the slot 0. He's going to keep blocking Jadarius Green McKnight into the stands. Extra push there. I think the ref just didn't see that. That could have easily been a 15-yarder. And then the extra push.
Oh, boy.
He's lucky his buddies are all around him because the refs couldn't see anything. Poor Water Girl right there is right in the middle of the action.
I tell you what, Virginia Tech caught a break right there. A couple of them. 3rd down and 4. Here comes the blitz off the edge. Drones able to get away. What a catch made by the sure-handed tight end Benji Gosnell. And that'll move the chains, a gain of 10.
Seeing Kyron Drones escape the pocket on D.V. Harris. Loss contained. Finds himself a completion.
They call it the 2-minute timeout in the college game. They've had this in the pro game going all the way back to 1949. Virginia Tech trying to get it rolling. Let's take a look at our game summary presented by Pacific Life, creating financial security for over 150 years.
The game impacted by special teams on both sides. Jaylin Lane, we talked about him being an impact player at the receiver spot. He gets his shot, takes advantage for a touchdown score for the Hokies. And then again, on the flip side, Marshall blocks a punt, converts right after. Ethan Payne punches it in there as the 3rd running back.
They run it on 1st down and able to break the tackle of Green is Tuten, and he lunges forward out across the 35-yard line. A 2-yard gain.
You see their tempo picking up a little bit. Still have 2 timeouts, can play normal football.
Looking around is Drones rolling, and he'll be shoved out of bounds by Harris.
And that's twice Kyron Drones has leaked out to his right with the defensive end being D.V. Harris. Mike Green, the guy we've talked about many times this game, he's more the field defensive end. So the other side, I think they're having a lot harder time leaking out to Mike Green's side, given how athletic he is. D.V. Harris for Marshall's got to make sure he keeps contained on an athletic quarterback like Drones.
3rd down and 7 from the 39-yard line. That 3rd down conversion a moment ago was the first of the game by Virginia Tech. Drones able to roll. He appears to have some room trying to get him, and what a play is made right there by J.J. Roberts. That's closing speed.
He came from center field like an absolute heat-seeking missile. Center field, playing middle coverage. He knows Drones' legs are a factor, and then open field comes down with a tackle. That's a huge play to not allow Drones to get rolling by J.J. Roberts.
It was this time a year ago when Roberts was on the field motionless, injured in the game against James Madison, had to be carted off the field. He came back to play in 2 and then couldn't play the rest of the year. So he's making up for lost time. Now Marshall will spend a timeout. And that leaves the Thundering Herd with 1.
Marshall knows it's a game of possessions. Can you steal a possession right here? Not allow Virginia Tech to wind the clock down. Allow your offense to go into 2-minute mode, which this air raid attack is very comfortable in 2-minute mode. I like the decision by Coach Huff.
You know, Max, I'm curious, and I'll ask you about it, the Virginia Tech side, when we start the second half. But right now, if you've got a minute 24 to go, you've had no offense, basically, if you're Marshall, right? Either team. But what would you like to see them try to do to at least get into field goal range here?
I want to see some throws to the outside lanes. Outside lanes, down the field. Allow some of these receivers that we were so excited about in the game plan that you went in the portal and got, get them going. I think so much of it's been inside runs, draws, quick hitters to the slots. Very little offensive attack to the outside lanes, which I think if you're going to soften up this defense, you got to start attacking.
Let's see if they try to come after this one. They don't. They only rush 3. And the punt fielded by Metcalf, and he is dropped right in his tracks. Great coverage by the Hokies. And they'll spot it outside the 15-yard line. So, minute 17 to go. We have seen Stone Earl this entire first half. He started the season opener. He missed on 5 of his first 7 throws and completed 8 of his last 9 for a couple of touchdowns. Braylon Braxton came in behind him and was very impressive. 7 of 11, 141 yards, a couple of touchdowns, including a 67-yard bomb.
And right now, take what the defense gives you. Just can't make the critical mistake, given that your team has the momentum.
And he is sacked.
And now this is where it gets interesting. Does Virginia Tech start taking timeouts? Yep, to keep Marshall's offense honest, especially with Marshall's offense being backed up. You want to make sure Marshall continues to execute, especially if you have a dicey punt here potentially coming up with this offense being behind the sticks.
Junior Keyshawn Burgos, native of Chesterfield, Virginia, on the sack there. So 1:06. You know, Coach Pry was just as open and honest as he could be in our conversation with him yesterday. One of the topics being, Max, about the 2-minute timeout. And he said you really have to do practice it right.
I loved his answer. I thought it was, 2-minute timeout. Football fans, we know it from the NFL, so it's not necessarily groundbreaking, but you asked a great question. How does it change your approach? And he said, honestly, it was a psychological element where when you're midway through the second quarter or midway through the fourth quarter, if there's a play where you may have called you might have a slight accident or a slight mishap, and you might have not called a timeout without, like in years past, because you want to hold on to your 3 timeouts. Nowadays, you might call that timeout because now you basically have a 4th timeout.
Right.
And you basically have one more get-out-of-jail-free card that if you're midway through a quarter, you can get your team out of trouble.
Better be careful here. Minute 12, they pitch it into some space. And Jordan Houston gets him a little bit of room. Gain of 7. So it brings up 3rd down and 10. And a timeout called again by Virginia Tech. So they're out of timeout.
Yeah, you're seeing the cat and mouse game. Last possession, Charles Huff calls a timeout to give his offense another possession. Didn't start off hot, and then now Brent Pry is calling timeouts to keep the Marshall offense honest.
And remember, the Hokies have an outstanding field goal kicker with a big leg in Love. So they come up with a stop here.
And we were talking about it pregame, wind in your favor if you're Virginia Tech, and it comes down to that.
You know, you look at the trees, so beautiful. They're taller than the entire side of the stadium that's still soaking in sunshine. And the limbs are moving all over the place. It is a hearty breeze, and they were kicking them from 55 and beyond in the warm-ups. Short of the 20, so it's 4th down, and again the clock will just continue to run, or does it?
The stop for the Hokies, 16, and he is Field. And number 0, Kelly Lawson.
This is interesting. I don't know what they're stopping for.
Well, they're out of timeout, so I don't know why the clock is stopped right now. And I'm sure that Charles Huff is asking the same thing.
I don't know why the clock is stopped, and on paper, Charles Huff should be yelling at those guys not to calmly converse.
Lost his helmet during the play. By rule, that requires a 10-second runoff at Marshall's option. Please reset the game clock to 53 seconds and the play clock to 40 seconds. The clock will start on my signal.
I'll tell you what, that's actually a break for Virginia Tech.
It forces your hand. Now you basically have to knee the ball down and go into halftime.
Well, I mean, right there, it would have been far less than 53 seconds had that clock been allowed to run. Did they say they're running it down to 43 or 53?
It was down to 53, and then they're running it. Well, now we're running it because of the play clock right now.
Okay.
And it looks like there's a 12-second delta, which is not enough, in my opinion, to make a drive on the back end. Let's see whose helmet comes off here. Yeah, it's middle of the pile. Lawson for Virginia Tech. And like I said, I think at this point, if you had any sort of thought of trying to catch this punt if you're Virginia Tech and get into field goal range with 12, 13 seconds, I think you move on to the second half.
And we'll see. Let's not forget now, Lane. I'm not sure how many can give him a chance to run one back here. Ever since that 58-yard punt return, if you weren't with us, it was the final play of the opening quarter.
Could have fair caught that one. Luckily for the Hokies, he did not. Made the first man miss and went right down the middle alleyway. It's a great point, Tom. Definitely do not allow him to touch this one, but you also can't get too cute, because if you shank this, and you're in the plus side of the territory, well, then you're just one small completion away from getting into field goal range.
After this punt, I want to ask Trevor, what's the mood like along that Virginia Tech sideline? Yes, they're ahead. That's the good news. They were behind 17-3 at halftime a week ago. This punt will bounce and continue to roll all the way down to the 31-yard line. Trevor, I mean, I got to ask you, you've been down there all day long. What's the mood on the Tech sideline?
It's a yeoman's approach, right? The fellas are still locked in, making sure that they understand that there's still a job to do. But at the end of the day, there is an urgency. Knowing that the stakes are just as ramped up as they were in week one, knowing that they're trying to get a win against a team that beat them just last season, and understanding that there is still very much so a game at hand that they are having to make sure that they are locked in for the remainder of.
I don't know what they're going to do on offense. Last week it was startling, the difference between the Virginia Tech offense in the first half, when they had 3 points, and then they explode for 24 in the second half, and they're not even going to try and throw it down the field. Out of timeouts.
Like down to the side, just to generate a spark for your offense. I would not be surprised at all.
All right, so we're underway here in the second half. The lights have been turned on here at Lane Stadium. And let's go downstairs to Trevor.
Fellas, I got a chance to talk to Coach Huff coming out of the locker room. He said it boils down to execution. Being able to get off of man coverage for the wideouts, not diving at guys defensively, and understanding that there may be a talent discrepancy, but you are hanging with them every second step of the way. Now, funny enough, the Marshall special teams coordinator is actually out of Virginia Tech, played linebacker there, and has since developed a lot of his special teams schematics based upon his time with the Hokies. So, again, the fact that this game is boiling out to be a part of special teams being a major part of it just sings to that importance, especially with that relationship existing.
All right, Trev, thank you very much. It's going to be Stone Earl again. He has not completed a pass since the first quarter of this game. And again, 3 quarterbacks threw touchdowns in their opening game win.
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the center, Logan Osborne.
4 for 14. I feel like he's done a good job of getting the ball out of his hands. Not a ton of sacks, but just blanketed coverage for Virginia Tech across the board. Corners, safeties, starters, reserves. They're giving him nothing easy out wide.
All right, so 1st and 15. And they fake the handoff. That's what you wanted to see right there. And nearly a juggling reception along the sideline by Fitzpatrick, but it's incomplete.
Mansour Delane again on coverage, one-on-one, and oftentimes Dorian Strong, opposite side of him, number 44, gets all the credit. But Delane making big-time plays there and really just making it tough. Like, it's just a tough play. Back shoulder fade on first down. From an offensive coordinator's perspective, it's just a difficult play to execute.
2nd down and 15. And he lofts this one, has a man open, and it is dropped by Metcalf. Boy, oh boy, these have been so few and far between. That's one you got to bring in.
You said it. It was a fade on the outside the time before, now a fade from the slot. They love Metcalf there. And we've talked about his yards after catch capabilities, but you got to come down with it first.
Boy, that one hurts.
You said it. Those opportunities, those chunk plays are so difficult to get to. So few opportunities. Got to take advantage if you're Marshall.
Earl has not had a completion his last 11 attempts and make it 12. That one nearly intercepted. He had an eye on the tight end, Toby Payne, across the middle. And Lawson nearly corralled it.
Lawson with that 6'6" frame, trying to use all of it, just doesn't come down with it. Stone Earl loses track of that Will linebacker. Kelly Lawson there drifting to Stone's right. Should have hit that second window trying to get his tight end. And for both these quarterbacks, just can't make the critical mistake. Yes, the offensive stats are not where you want them to be, but no turnovers so far in this game from either quarterback.
Short punt, Lane coming up to get it, a fair catch. So this first drive of the 3rd quarter will begin right at midfield. 30-yard punt. Well, let's see what Virginia Tech. I started to ask you about Marshall at the end of the first half. What do you want to see Tech do?
I want them to run the rock. I think
I'm with you.
They've tried the progression passing game. You could tell that was an emphasis, especially coming off last week where you didn't have much of that. When you did call it last week, you had success. But so far today, Marshall's got their number through the air. You have these 2 running backs, Malachi Thomas and Bhayshul Tuten. Lean on those guys.
Tuten in the backfield, and they will start it by giving it to him. He drags 2 or 3 tacklers along with him. I just can't say it enough, and you said it, Max, a minute ago. This Marshall defense has really been impressive today.
At all 3 levels, too. Pass rushing, interior defensive line, and then in the secondary as well. Talking about Bhayshul Tuten, 87 yards so far. Marshall's entire offense only has 77. You get him rolling in the second half and start trying to wear down this Marshall defense. That's certainly a recipe for success.
I think we got some cramping maybe going on down there. That's Chris Thomas. Hopefully that's all it is.
Transfer from Florida. We've talked about it. Transfers all over this defensive line. Need that depth, especially when you get to the fourth quarter. It's usually most teams just warm up in the stadium. They had some sort of activity out there pregame.
They're waiting for Enter Sandman to come flanking along.
Getting juiced up. Right there, seeing Bhayshul Tuten again makes the first man miss. Or not even necessarily miss, but just the first man's not able to bring him down, and he's able to break that tackle and keep falling forward. And right here, 3rd and short. This is where Drones' legs really become a factor. We've talked about that. The whole playbook's open for Virginia Tech. Let's see what coach goes to.
Well, you got to run it again, don't you? 3rd and 2. Yep, they're going to give it to Tuten, and he gets a first down. So you said it. You want to see him start running the rock, Max Brown. Bang, bang, bang. 3 in a row to Tuten and a first down.
And you got 2 guys you love. Even if Tuten gets tired, you go to Malachi Thomas. And it felt like in that first quarter, Virginia Tech was so focused on, hey, let's get the pass game involved. Let's get our talented quarterback involved. But I think now the approach has got to be, let's run the rock to open up the pass. Keep wearing them down and then allow the play action to naturally unfold.
Ball at the 39-yard line, a 4th straight handoff to Tuten and a 4th straight solid gain. He's inside the 35, a gain of 6 on first down. And now he's going to catch a breather.
When you run the rock, it really takes the biggest strength of this Marshall defense out of the equation, that pass rushing, that ability to use your athleticism on 3rd down, really forcing the interior of this Marshall defensive line to show out.
P.J. Prelo comes in. They like him a lot. So he comes in the backfield instead of Thomas. And this is Prelo. Cuts it back to the inside. Wrapped up close to the 30. It'll bring up another 3rd down and short. Watson on the tackle. And Tuten still stays on the sideline with Prelo on the field. 3rd down and 2.
Last time they were in this situation, just a few plays ago, they went zone read away from Mike Green, 15, the defensive end on the top of your screen. And he was the guy they were reading, not allowing Mike Green to be the point of attack on the play side of the run.
I wonder if Tuten may have been shaken up a little bit. He had a funny gait to him coming off the sideline after the 3 straight carries. Here's Prelo, and he just lowers his shoulder and bulls his way to the 27. A run play on every play so far in this draft, resulting in back-to-back first downs.
We said it, trying to establish that identity of running the rock. Use the ump cam, umps involved right in the box. Running backs coming right at you. Physical brand, Jaden Yates, 30 for Marshall, closing in that A gap.
Still Prelo in the backfield, not Thomas, not Tuten. And they fake it to Lane, and Drones will keep it. And he is inside the 20. Needed to get to the 17 for a first down. And it is a first down. Gain of 10.
This play is just so difficult to defend. You have Jaylin Lane in motion. You got to be wary of that. Got to be wary of the running back. And then, oh, by the way, you got a 6'2", 235-pound quarterback coming right at you.
Tuten does check back in, so that's good to see that he's all right. Three-point game here in the opening minutes of the 3rd quarter. Lane again in motion. First throw of this second half. Flag down. And it's caught. And Lane inside the 5. But again, a flag on the far side of the field after a gain of 14. But I think we'll see. The officials are walking back towards where he was tackled. So I don't think this is coming back.
Offside. Defense, number 4. That penalty is declined. Play result and a first down.
Yeah, this is easy, Tom, right there.
Yep.
Right across the black line. At first I thought usually when you see that swoop motion and you throw the ball to the outside, it's receiver holding, but they threw the flag early. It's offsides on that one.
First down and goal for the Hokies. Tuten, and he is met as soon as he caught it. He still has enough to at least lunge forward and get close to the line of scrimmage. That was McGee into the backfield.
Great defense right here. A.G. McGee blitzing from the safety spot off the edge. They've done that a few times, trying to get extra hats into the box and come up with the tackle from the guys on the perimeter.
Second down and goal from the 4. Only one pass play on this 10th play of the drive. And they'll hand it off again and again. It's Tuten. And he's gobbled up close to the line of scrimmage, able to fall forward. J.J. Hawkins, among others, in there on the tackle. Third down and goal.
In my experience, when you have a drive like this, where it's just we're running right at you, it's a mentality drive. It's your first drive in the second half. You're frustrated with how the first drive went. Enough is enough. This is the type of tone-setting drive you're trying to get if you're Brent Pry.
10 plays, 9 on the ground. Third down and goal. Tuten in the backfield. And the quarterback's going to keep it. And he will be denied the end zone. Okay, now, look. You were just talking about establishing yourself, all these other kind of things as you look at our ump cam. Are you going for it, 4th and goal here?
We're going to see Drones' legs, right? I mean, if he didn't get it there, I know it's always easy in this spot to say you got to go for it, got to go for it. Yes, you should be able to get 3 feet, but you also have a defense that has been playing lights out, and points are points. I would not mind it if he kicked it, and I know it's always fun to say you got to go for it, especially when you got Drones. But Tom, I'd take the points.
All right, Tuten in the backfield in the shotgun. From just beyond the 1, they pitch it to Tuten. He's going to dance into the end zone. Untouched for a touchdown. Benji Gosnell, a big bump to spring him loose. Come on now, Skipper. Skipper's a little gun shy. He fired one off early, too soon, earlier in the game.
Boom. Yeah, they said, Max, enough with that. We're not here for 3 points. We're trying to get a touchdown, and he walks in. And I like the play call, though. The whole drive, it's inside, inside, inside. You know Marshall's selling out to defend the inside, and you put it on the edge. That was a clear identity-setting drive there. Getting not only your offensive line rolling, but Bhayshul Tuten, one of your star players as well.
Well, they got things rolling in the second half of Vanderbilt, scoring 24 points a week ago. And on the Hokies' first drive here at home, in front of this sellout crowd, a touchdown on a 4th and goal. Wow.
Everyone was saying they were shooing for the college football playoff, like already, and there was, what, 2-3 months of football to play. Huskies saying not so fast.
Yeah, those teams in the Mid-American Conference now, they can play some football. Marshall has played in the Mid-American Conference during its history. But you look at all the big boys. There's a flag coming in late. We had a fight here. Hang on, we'll come back to this in a second. There were a few players that got tangled up right there at the 25-yard line.
We got 2 flags on the field. Marshall's last drive started with a false start. Let's see if another drive starts with a penalty.
The result of the play is a touchback. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Kicking team, number 20, his first. Penalties half the distance to the goal. First down.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, 20 in Marshall right there. Jeter, just the extra shove/push at the end. Totally uncalled for. Can't have it if you're on the road, especially as a team down 10 points trying to make a comeback.
We go back to that AP top 10, and we remind you that, Max, I'm excited, buddy. Next weekend, it'll be rocking down there in Winston-Salem. We've got Wake Forest taking on the number 6 Ole Miss. And hey, look, by the time we get there, Ole Miss will be in the top 5.
It's a good point.
Notre Dame loses.
It's a good point. They'll leapfrog someone. That'll be a fun one, Ole Miss. And like we circled and talked about, Notre Dame obviously going to fall out in an interesting dynamic with Notre Dame not having a conference. How does that play out with the 12-team playoff?
They handed off on first down. I thought this was their best play in the first half, and don't look down. But A.J. Turner is off to the races. He cuts it back across the field, and he's finally run down at the 18-yard line. A.J. Turner. He had an 80-yard touchdown last week in the win over Stony Brook. He's a redshirt sophomore out of Hampton, Virginia. He might just be catching his breath.
And look at this cut A.J. Turner puts on the safety, gets through the A-gap, makes a second man miss, and then right there, once he gets to the 3rd level, that's what an elite back does. When your offensive line gives you room, you got to make the most of it. Coming up with a huge play right there. He's going to get through the A-gap, and then watch this cut on the safety. Boom, right there. Safety thought he was working to his left. A.J. Turner says, I'm going to go against the grain back to the right. and his buddy Elijah Metcalf's trying to get him a block downfield. Credit that Virginia secondary for not giving up. That could have been a house call. Let's hope A.J. Turner's okay, but that's the big play Marshall was looking for.
Turner only touched it 3 times in the first half, but he ripped off a 21-yard run. I mean, he had 3 carries for nearly 30 yards.
And that's really the feel that you want with an air raid rushing attack. Is we're going to pick our spots. It doesn't need to be every single play. It doesn't need to always be on first and second down. But when the box count is there and we can get a hat for a hat, those type of run plays can happen.
Jordan Houston checks into the backfield as Turner goes under the medical tent. They throw it to the end zone, and that is a touchdown. The first Marshall offensive touchdown of the game goes to Christian Fitzpatrick. So they get a 69-yard run by Turner. They throw an 18-yard pass for a touchdown. And that 10-point lead is about to shrivel down to 3 again.
And they've been trying these vertical routes with Christian Fitzpatrick, but usually it's when he's the outside receiver. They put Fitzpatrick in the slot this time, and he's got the biggest frame of any of those receivers at 6'4", 220. Using that frame there, going up, getting a rebound. It's a great job by Stone Earl continuing to trust his receiver to make a play and go back to him.
Fitzpatrick, the transfer, as Max mentioned, from Louisville. Well, all of a sudden, we've got some offense in this game. CW Football Saturday presented by Verizon. Counts in less than 50 seconds.
You said it. It's been a defensive struggle, and then all of a sudden, offense out of nowhere. First one with Bhayshul Tuten just walking in the end zone, and the second one, credit this Marshall offense for responding, finding their man Christian Fitzpatrick for a vertical touchdown.
All set up by the 69-yard run by Turner. Here's a little pooch kick over near the sideline, and that will give excellent field position up to the 35-yard line. I don't get that.
Yeah, trying to get creative with forcing someone who's not Jaylin Lane to cover the kick. Just poor execution by that kicker. Obviously got to put that in bounds.
By the way, that touchdown pass by Earl was his first completion of his last 12 passes. Here you get a look at Virginia Tech on offense. Not much there until that last drive, which was virtually all running the ball. All but one play was a run play. And Drones will keep this one himself, breaks one tackle, and not able to shake a second defender.
Kyron Drones, the ball carrier.
And that's Watson on the stop. Gain of 1. Trevor, what's up?
Down here on the Marshall sideline, Coach Huff came over to the offense and immediately encouraged them, saying, go ahead and reel these boys in. Mentioned that Virginia Tech's aggressive nature defensively is causing them to overrun a lot of those plays. So that cutback that you saw from Turner was a picturesque example of it. They're trying to make sure that they stay in this game, knowing that they have full well the talent to keep up with this Virginia Tech Hokies team.
They really do. They're proving that. That was a loss of a yard where they spotted it. Now looking for the big one. Down the sideline. What a catch! All the way at the 15 by Stephen Gosnell. They say this guy catches everything you throw at him. What a reception.
And they also say his ability to take the top off the defense has become part of his game. Always been a great route runner, but what a catch. Selling it out. Had 2, maybe 3 steps on the Marshall DB. Stephen Gosnell coming up. You get those opportunities. There haven't been that many in this game. As a receiver, got to take advantage. Great catch right there.
49-yard pickup. How about some of the offense all of a sudden in this game? 2 inside the 15. I mean, you were lucky to get 70 yards by either team in the first half. That's a slight exaggeration, but not much. And here we've had nearly a 70-yard run and a 50-yard completion.
And no big plays to speak of, really, offensively in the first half. So far, I've had 3. And the theme has been winning on those outside lanes, those one-on-one matchups, vertical shots. As a receiver, can you come down with it?
Shooting again. He's able to plow forward. Appears to be a yard short of the first down. Maybe half a yard, they're saying now. Spotted at the 8, need to get to the 7, a gain of 5, 3rd down. 2 Tuten has gone over 100 yards. Well, what a back he's turned into since about midway through last year. Quarterback sneak. Came up to the line of scrimmage late, took the snap, 1st and goal for the Hokies.
And a creative disguise right there by the Virginia Tech offense. They looked to the sideline, all their skill players did, as if they were confused, as if someone was motioning. Look at all their players looking, what's going on, what's going on? You got the linebacker right there, 30, Jaden Yates, looking back to his sideline, and you catch the Thundering Herd sleeping a little bit, and you're able to get that quarterback sneak.
That CW up cam is big league.
That's big time.
It really is. Quarterback keeper looking for the corner and able to get there. There's a touchdown for Drones. 3-yard run, back-to-back touchdown scoring drives for Virginia Tech.
We knew his legs would be a factor. He's able to get the edge. We've talked about Mike Green so much today, Marshall's defensive end. He comes crashing down, quarterback, you pull it. And that left side of that end zone's had 2 easy rushing touchdowns for the Hokies.
Now Love on for the point after. Trying to extend the lead back to 10 as it was about 3 minutes ago. Then the big run and a touchdown pass got it right back down to 3. We call it the ump cam because the umpire wears it, not the referee. So we know what sport we're covering here.
Some 2024 technology.
You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. It's heating up. Ian Foster has not had a chance to bring anything back. Every single one of Love's kickoffs back through the end zone. They're honoring that 1999 team, led by the quarterback Michael Vick.
We know that guy. What a stud. 21 passing touchdowns, and we know all about his legs, too. 17 to go along with that. 3rd in the Heisman voting that year, was a special player. I alluded to it earlier on. He was a dual-threat quarterback before dual-threat quarterbacks were mainstream. Got the Virginia Tech Hokies to the national championship game, and his number is retired in the stands. And I was once a road opponent here at Lane Stadium, and you turn out the tunnel, and that Vic retired jersey is one of the first things you see. Really sets the tone for the atmosphere you're walking into.
Big time play made by Josh Fuga, grad student, 2nd-year captain. Loss of 5.
Fuga at that defensive tackle spot, one of those 5 defensive tackles that they really like. Knife's in there. Stone Earl, he's reading that defensive end, not necessarily accounting for Josh Fuga making a play in the backfield.
It's been interesting that Earl has gone the entire way in this one.
Not sure how much of a QB competition there truly is.
1st down carry and good yardage, picking up 6 is Jordan Houston, so it brings up a 3rd down and 9. Marshall trying to get some momentum back. I think they stunned Virginia Tech with that long run and a touchdown pass to get a 10-point lead down to 3, but the Hokies answered.
And those vertical shots work when it's, tight man coverage. 3rd and 9, I'd expect the Hokies to have a little bit more of a softer shell. Still going to have field routes down the field to obviously convert this.
That's Fitzpatrick, big target in motion. Protection breaks down, quarterback takes off running. And he lunges forward. Did he get there? I think he did. Yes, indeed. That is a 1st down. That's a gutty run right there by Earl.
The 2nd effort, too. He was going to be short if Virginia Tech came down with him. Instead, he's scanning the field, and we said quarterback scrambles, part of his game. Eludes that defender, picks up the 1st.
He throws off balance, catch is made by Toby Payne, the tight end. It doesn't even go for a gain. 2nd down and 10.
Marshall has been poor on 3rd down up until that point. It's a key aspect of this drive, being able to stay on the field.
Good protection this time. And it's tipped and intercepted. It was tipped by Phillips and then intercepted by Delane. And there's a penalty flag down in the secondary.
And Delane's having himself a day. It's been great man coverage on that sideline the whole day. His buddy Mose Phillips helping him out. We're going to see the replay right here, but Mansour Delane's been all over this field today. And check this out. They're going to do a little wheel route, try to get over Mose Phillips.
After the play, sideline warning on the Virginia Tech sideline. It's first down, Virginia Tech.
Seen it right here, a little wheel route by the slot. Just tight coverage, not enough air. And credit Mose Phillips right there, the safety. Mansour Delane getting that pick. And we talked about this secondary. You know, you had Jalen Stroman, who's their star safety. He's not playing in this game. He's hurt. Mose Phillips is the type of guy who had an increased role this week. And then on the flip side, Dorian Strong is their all-world corner as well. But it's the other guy, Delane, coming up big today.
Yeah, Delane had a rough go of it last week. Vanderbilt really went after him and had some success, and he's a good player. He's had an off day. And rumbling down inside the 45. It's Tuten. Called a gain of 13. Tuten piling up the yards now.
And right behind the set of brothers as well. Braylon Moore at center and Caden Moore at right guard. It's a combo that's getting used to playing next to each other. Now second half of the second game, getting some continuity.
Play fake. And a crossing connection is made to Lane, and that'll be another first down to the 23-yard line. 20-yard pickup.
And this is what you love about Kyron Drones when he's on rhythm and has a clean pocket. Look at the second window throw. He waits for the receiver to get past that first linebacker and throws him open into the open window. This is why they keep coming back to the progression passing game, because they know Drones has it in him. And these receivers can make plays when they're open.
1 minute to play here in the third quarter. Virginia Tech trying to lengthen this 10-point lead. Fake the pitch, and now they dump it off to Tuten. And he just takes what he can get, run out of bounds. Pick up a flag comes in, and that was right around the line of scrimmage.
Flag comes in with a helmet off. It's usually hands to the face, but you never know.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense. Penalties half of the goal. Automatic first down.
You see Mike Green on the right side of the screen right there. He's had a great day pass rushing, but just can't do that. That's a frustration play when you get stoned. It's a good block by Xavier Chaplin. We've been giving a lot of love to Mike Green, and he's a special player. When you're one-on-one versus Green at the left tackle spot, you're going to have your hands full. Green wasn't able to get past him right there and comes up with a personal foul.
Boy, they like the future of Chaplin, that left tackle. He's only a redshirt sophomore and already in his second season as a starting left tackle. Tuten coming down the line to wrap him up was Green again. That'll be a 2-yard gain.
They should have beat Auburn last year if they had any sort of offensive quarterback play. They found Fernando Mendoza and Peter Sermon, Justin Wilcox defense showing out.
Here's Drones on the keeper. He's down to the 5-yard line. Gain of 4. Injured player, and this is that could be a big one. This is Tuten. He's hurting a little bit back there. You just saw him take that shot.
That's always ugly. You hate to see that at that mesh point. It's Tuten's job to, no matter what the quarterback does, stick on your track. It was awkward right there with the timing. Hopefully his knee's okay.
Tuten had 11 carries in the first half. He had 11 carries in the third quarter.
It's a good sign he can walk off.
Yeah, certainly hope he's okay. Malachi Thomas takes over. We saw P.J. Prelo and Tuten jumping around down there. That's a good sign. 120 rushing yards for Bhayshul Tuten. Pump fake one way, come to the end zone, and that is a touchdown for the Hokies. Daquan Felton.
That was just thinking, Tom, we haven't called Felton's name today, and at 6'5", 215, when you get to the red zone, that's the type of weapon you love. This is a phenomenal throw by Kyron Drones, too. This route is meant to meet you at the back pylon. He saw that safety getting soft into coverage and throws this ball to throttle down Felton at the E and Hokies in the end zone. It's great quarterback play. Love the concept, and Felton's a weapon we haven't talked about much today, but he's going to find the end zone often this year.
He had 38 receptions, 8 of them for touchdowns a season ago after transferring from Norfolk State. Here's the point after, and it is good by John Love. 30-14, Virginia Tech. This is CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. And that was against Florida State. And I mean to tell you, I've never seen a quarterback have to run for his life on virtually every play the way Vic did in that game. The Seminoles were all over the place. But a great season for the Hokies. And a good second half again for the Hokies. It's 2 weeks in a row. Good coverage on special teams. Foster dropped at the 15-yard line. Look at this athletic facility here. I tell you, this is I can't tell you what a nice campus this is if you've never been here. You know, you got the football stadium there, you see the soccer stadium, softball off to your right, baseball. I left, I think, about a third of my body on that track yesterday.
I was going to say, after our coaches meeting when Tom went out for a run, it was so great.
Yeah, and I thought that would probably be where I would be laid to rest. It was a little warm yesterday. Perfect.
Beautiful campus. Fun hanging with the coaches yesterday.
First down carry, A.J. Turner, not much there. A couple of yards on first down, maybe one.
You're seeing why they love this interior defensive line for Virginia Tech. There's been really nothing up the middle outside of that one 70-yard run play. It's been stout up front for the Hokies.
Been Stone Earl right from the get-go. 3 quarterbacks played in their season opening win over Stony Brook. Good to see Turner back in there. I got to tell you, I like the way this guy runs the ball.
I do, and I like his buddy Christian Fitzpatrick, the receiver in the slot with a great block there, really utilizing his frame. They may have found something with Fitzpatrick in the slot. Usually bigger receivers, you're on the outside. He's been effective right there, but I'm with you. A.J. Turner, he's found a way to get involved here in the second half.
Third down and a yard. Quarterback keeper good enough to move the sticks. Out across the 30 to the 32-yard line for Earl. Gain of 5.
Unique design there. There's a different way to get to a quarterback draw. You put your tight end in motion. You wash the offensive line all the way down to the right. Kick out the left defensive end with the motioning tight end and allow your quarterback, Stone Earl, to just have an easy QB draw first down conversion.
Good protection. And there's a guy you like. Oh, my goodness, are you kidding me? Christian Fitzpatrick just snags that ball out of midair with one paw. That's big-time catch right there.
There was once a guy who wore this Marshall jersey named Randy Moss and coined the term, you just got mossed. This is big time. One hand, using the right hand, basically staring down the corner the whole time. That's a lot of man. Great hops right there. That is a big-time catch by Christian Fitzpatrick, who's had a very good second half.
He's a redshirt senior. He is. This is his 3rd stop. He's been at Louisville. He's been at Michigan State. But he could be in line to have a big-time year. And you talked about his body earlier, Max. 6'4", 222. This will be on every highlight reel in the country tonight.
As it should be. Look at this thing. This is great coverage right there by Delane, who's had a great day, too. And I love his eyes, too. He's basically catching it with one hand, staring down the field at the other. Just light work right there.
Second down and 10. And the receiver fell down. And again, that was an eye on Fitzpatrick. He lost his footing right at the 30-yard line, 3rd down and 10.
That's been a fun matchup all day. Obviously, we just highlighted the big-time catch, but Delane's not backing down. He's been physical all day. He's been physical and he's only got one PI. He's forcing the refs to really officiate this game, but he's had a great matchup today outside in the corner.
Third down and 10. Underneath. Catch is made. Boy, that was a well-designed play. It picks up 7 as that's Chapman on the catch. They had guys going in every direction there.
It's a little tunnel screen. It's a similar play that Drones threw an interception on last week versus Vanderbilt. It's a good job making a man miss right there in the tunnel by Tyshawn Chapman. You know Virginia Tech's pinning their ears back on third down. I like the play call right here. An obvious 4-down territory, 2-possession game. We've seen it before, Stone Earl's legs being a factor.
Fourth down, Metcalf in motion, and he's wide open. He'll pick up the first down. Cuts it back to the inside. Boy, he barely made the first down. He looked like he had a lot of turf in front of him down the sideline. Gain of 6. And
dancing a little bit. Virginia Tech goes man coverage. You get him on motion. They don't align properly. It's an easy conversion.
Marshall was picked to finish 5th. And it's half of the Sun Belt Conference. And there's a flag down. The catch is made. Carl Chester on the reception, a gain of 19. Boy, Earl hung in there. He took a hit.
Holding. 44.
They're going to get Dorian Strong here for the whole. It's really the first time they've challenged him all day, and yeah, it's clear as day. He knows he's beat. Could have been a touchdown if Stone Earl puts that ball up and I'll meet you in the end zone type of trajectory. You said it, though. He had to take a shot. I think it shows the respect they have for Dorian Strong. They haven't attacked him much today.
Swinging out to Jordan Houston. He's close to the 10-yard line. Gain of 2. We're talking about Marshall. They're picked to finish by the media 5th in the SBC East Division. App State is picked again as the top team in that conference.
It's hard to pick those conferences when there's so much roster turnover. Like, you don't know half the guys that are transferring in. Marshall's going to surprise some people.
I think you're right. Drop it off to Payne. He is able to slip inside the 10, tackled down to the 7. The 3rd down and 3 after a 4-yard gain. Jenkins on the stop. We're down to the final 9.5 from Blacksburg, Virginia. Sellout crowd, home opener. Charles Huff and the Thundering Herd coming to town. They knocked off Tech a year ago. But Tech in control right now at 31-14.
And down 16 with under 10 minutes in the 4th quarter. It's probably 2-down territory. Could impact your play call here if you know you're going to get another play after this.
They threw it to Metcalf on the same play the last time. And now the quarterback keeper. And he may have slid too early. Let's see where they spot this ball.
He's going to get punished for sliding. It's where the quarterback gives himself up. At the first indication of that, he should have dove. He had the first down. So often coaches want their quarterbacks to slide, but not in this scenario when you're on the road down 2 scores late in the game. Should have dove. The new rule right there, trying to protect quarterbacks, works against Stone Earl.
Boy, oh boy, he had it easy. Timeout called by Virginia Tech before this 4th down. And again, it's where you start the slide to protect the quarterback, right?
Exactly, right where he gives himself up. So at the first indication, it's not necessarily where his knee goes down. It's right when he starts the sliding motion, which is why you're going to see the ball right there on that called 5-yard line.
You know, you look around the Atlantic Coast Conference today. For Georgia Tech went into Syracuse to the Dome today, ranked 23rd in the country after beating Florida State and getting another win.
Don't sleep on the orange.
The Ohio State quarterback transfer, Kyle McCord, throws for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had 5 incompletions in the entire game. And that was against the Tech defense, and Florida State couldn't do anything.
Exactly. That could be a sneaky, important game at the end of the season. I saw his head coach saying he's got to send a bottle of champagne to Ohio State for allowing Kyle McCord to be a signal caller.
That kid lost 1 game last year, and he's no longer quarterback in the Buckeyes. 13th play.
In true air raid fashion on 4th and short, going 5 wide.
Need to get to the 4. They throw it. Oh, he was open. Fitzpatrick, and the throw is too tall. Virginia Tech will take over with 8:23 to go in the game. CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. The game brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, and motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com.
The whole pace of this game changed when Bhayshul Tuten got involved in the second half. That first drive to start the second half where they leaned on him heavily, that ended with that touchdown walk-in right there, really changed the trajectory of this game. 22 rushes, 120 yards, and 1 touchdown. You really felt his impact this second half.
That was a long drive put together, as here's a big carry. And continuing to stay on his feet and dragging about 7 guys along with him is Malachi Thomas. Let's go downstairs to Trevor.
The entire drive that Marshall was making, Bhayshul Tuten was warming up on the sidelines, attempting to give it a go on that lower body injury. Still standing here, no helmet on, but he has it in his possession. We'll continue to monitor and see if he enters back into this tilt.
I'd be a little surprised. I mean, why take the chance? You're up 31-14. Good stuff, Trevor. Thank you very much. Drones, good protection. It breaks down, and he is sacked from behind. It's been a good day for this defensive front 7. J.J. Hawkins there on the sack. They have really gotten after the quarterback today, and I'm sure that is something that Coach Pry is going to have to take a long, hard look at.
Without a doubt, and I think that's something that Marshall can travel with this whole season. And J.J. Hawkins right there, one of those Colorado transfers we talked about. Again, 2 Colorado transfers. You got a Florida transfer as well, Illinois transfer. This group's really coming together.
Yeah, you got a Miami transfer, Kentucky, Minnesota, Ole Miss. Here's a whole pile of them in there. Big run by Thomas. He's all the way out to the 45-yard line. There's a penalty flag in the backfield.
Holding. Offense. Number 75. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
It's 2 good runs in a row by Thomas, redshirt junior.
We're going to get Bob Schick on the hold right there at the right guard spot. Looking right guard, or I guess he's left guard in this possession. And Malachi Thomas done a good job. He's had a knack for doing that today, of working it front side and then rolling it backside as the linebackers overplay. Like the patience we've seen from him today. Back to that Tuten point, I'm sure Brent, that's the type of scenario where Brent Pry's messaging to the trainers, please take his helmet. Don't even allow him to come back in. Let's get Thomas some work.
Well, we told you so many connections between these 2 programs, and one of them being that Pry, his father, played fullback at Marshall and then coached after they had the horrific plane crash. His dad was on the staff 73, 74, went on to coach in a lot of places. Illinois, Duke, Dartmouth, Akron. They were moving around a lot. And here Pry in his 3rd year. Had a winning record last year, first time at Virginia Tech since 2019. As Prelo takes over in the backfield. And about to go to 1-1 after the front 2 here in 24. Prelo running hard. You know, you look at the ACC, Max, and around the conference today, as there's a timeout spent there by Marshall. They're just underway. Probably the game of the day, as far as notoriety is concerned, involves number 24 NC State playing at home against number 14 Tennessee. They just kicked that one off. Wake Forest, we'll see them next week against Ole Miss, leading Virginia. Miami of Florida, big halftime lead at 25-6. Your Pitt Panther. Are you a Pitt Panther or are you a USC Trojan?
When this scoreboard's up, I'm a Pitt Panther, baby. Let's go. ACC all day. But no, what really sticks out, too, is the quarterback play as well. I mean, we talked about Kyle McCord, Syracuse getting it done. Castellanos with Boston College, 56-0. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Defensive matchup last night, SMU-BYU.
Yeah.
BYU's defense was lights out. So when you look at from a Virginia Tech perspective as well, there's going to be some good defensive football. I know in ACC media days it was, conference of quarterbacks type of deal, but the defense is showing out, and if they can unlock Kyron Drones and pair him with this Virginia Tech defense, the Hokies will be right in the thick of things.
Metcalf, returnable from the 39. Breaks it to the outside, cuts it back to the inside. And he's all the way into Virginia Tech territory in the 45-yard line. Good return there by Metcalf on the fading sunshine here in Blacksburg, Virginia. Beautiful night. Take a look at today's game summary presented by Pacific Life, creating financial security for over 150 years. Big day on the ground.
All about the ground game for the Hokies. 100 rush yards in the second half. You got Bhayshul Tuten rolling, and then once the defense focused on him, Kyron Drones is a factor as well. And if you missed it or just tuning in, one of the catches of the year right here on the outside by Christian Fitzpatrick. Talk about climbing the ladder. That's doing it for sure. One-handed catch. That's big time.
And for the first time today, we have a... Nope, they're going to stay with Stone Earl. I beg your pardon.
That'll be interesting to track throughout the season. I really feel like he got the full workload today because they trust him to not make that critical error and get through his progressions as Virginia Tech was heating things up on this defense. But his backup can play too.
Good as he throws down the middle of the field into double coverage, and it's incomplete.
Trying for his man, Christian Fitzpatrick. I also walk away thinking the 1-2 punch between Christian Fitzpatrick and Elijah Metcalf in the slot. One guy's a little guy, the other guy's long and athletic. That could be a good combo this season.
See, Wake Forest up on Virginia. Will be in Winston-Salem next weekend here on CW Sports Saturday. We'll have the Demon Deacons hosting Miss Rebels as Lane Kiffin, Jackson Dart and company. After Notre Dame's shocking loss today, Ole Miss will move into the top 5 ranked teams in the country.
That'll be a fun one. In recent memory, we've seen SEC quarterbacks that, once they get to that third-year start, really take that jump. Joe Burrow, #1 pick. Jaden Daniels, also a Heisman. I'm not here saying Jackson Dart's going to win the Heisman right now, but he's got that mold of an SEC quarterback that can really take a step, not only in the SEC, but nationally.
He's another guy that came running away from USC.
I know, what's up with that? I started the trend, I guess, transferring away. Now he's a stud. He had a lot of success as a true freshman at USC. Had Matt Barkley, Keaton Slovis, and then him as true freshmen starting quarterbacks at USC. And just with the coaching change, Lincoln Riley coming in, bringing Caleb Williams, Lane Kiffin found himself a quarterback.
First down, good protection. I don't know what happened there. Defender fell down. The receiver was wide open to throw nowhere near Chapman.
I've been impressed with Keontae Jenkins today. We've talked about it a couple times, but the question mark at safety with Jalen Stroman being down, a lot of those guys having to increase their role, they haven't blinked. This has been a Virginia Tech secondary that's been locked in all day.
Second down and 10. Just outside the 33-yard line. Good protection again. And the catch is made on the far side. And that's a 6-yard pickup.
Speaking of Ole Miss, the Ole Miss transfer, Braylon Brown. Interesting to track who ends up being that third receiver for Marshall. They bring in the air raid offense and go out and get a bunch of receiver transfers, trying to fit all the puzzle pieces together.
Third down and 4. And the catch is made for a first down to the 20-yard line. This time they find Metcalf.
Gotta go with some tempo here too. Still a 2-possession ball game. You got 2 timeouts and the 2-minute timeout. Right on cue, they start hurrying up a little bit to the line.
Lob it to the end zone. I thought for a second from where we got blinded here for a second. I wondered if that guy caught the ball one-handed again in the corner over his shoulder.
Pretty good throw. Stone Earl, he's getting the ball out of his hands quickly. Like the ball's out now. It takes some time to travel. Christian Fitzpatrick, maybe get your eyes around a little bit quicker, but again, tight coverage by Virginia Tech. They're not giving an inch away.
It's interesting. Seth Doege talked about earlier, former Texas Tech quarterback. Of all of the Texas Tech quarterbacks that had played under Mike Leach down there, for those that decided to go into the profession of coaching, as that one is overthrown, Metcalf was open in the end zone and beat this defender by a step. But of those that went into coaching, Doege, of all of those guys, he was the only one that had not yet become an offensive coordinator.
That's a coaching tree getting it done. Yeah. And to bring this full circle, we're talking about Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, who we'll see next week. Seth Doege was with him at USC as the tight ends coach under Graham Harrell for that 1 year. But to your point, I mean, all those guys, the Mike Leach disciples, are either calling plays or leading teams as a head coach. When Coach Huff looked around the country for who his next offensive coordinator would be, he knew he wanted an air raid guy, and Doege was the perfect fit.
Third down. Again, good protection. Boy, he had 2 receivers within 5 yards of one another. I don't know if he was throwing that ball to Chester or throwing that ball to Metcalf. Metcalf should have been the receiver.
I think what happened is Carl Chester ran out of grass to keep running his vertical route to run off that safety to open up the route for the over. That's the downside of calling an over route on the 20-yard line, is there's just only so much grass to work with. Those windows shrink in a hurry.
All right, 4th down.
4th and 10, not a lot in the playbook here, and again, Virginia Tech is going to give you the one-on-one matchup to the top of the screen.
They didn't get it off. They wasted a lot of time there, and that'll be a delay of game penalty. Oh, they called a timeout first. Okay. All right, so let's look at, Virginia Tech and what you're thinking about here, Max. Your first half of your first game, you were terrible. Your offense was good in the second half last week, but your defense couldn't come up with a big stop when you needed it. Today, nothing in the first half. Defense played great. Both halves, really, the defense has been great. But this offense is still a half by half kind of, what are you going to get?
I think in the second half, you found your identity, at least for next week, in terms of we got to be a run-first team. We got to lean on Bhayshul Tuten and Kyron Drones' legs, but we can't force the issue and be a downfield passing attack team. Lean on Tuten and then allow the pass to naturally come about.
Chicago Individual Championship next weekend, live from the Windy City. Can't wait for that. And then, as we mentioned, Ole Miss going to Winston-Salem to take on Wake Forest. It's our CW Sports Saturday, starting at 1 with Live Golf, and right into 6:30 kickoff from Winston-Salem.
We're going to have those one-on-one matchups on the top and the bottom if you want it.
Fourth down. Throw and a catch. Where are they going to spot the ball? He had to get to the 9-yard line. There is a penalty flag on the near side of the field in the secondary. It looks like they have spotted the ball just inside the 10, which would not appear to be enough for a first, but offsides against Virginia Tech.
5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
The offsides will be on the defensive end on the bottom of your screen. Just tries to jump the snap and does it too early. Giving this Marshall offense another try on fourth down.
Pal Ryland's got one of the great nicknames in all of football. He's the mayor of Saxburg, Virginia.
And that's a big deal. 4th and 10 versus 4th and 5. At 4th and 10, you got vertical routes and curl routes at the sticks. 4th and 5, though, that's where Stone Earl's legs become a factor. You're probably not running it at all, but the passing playbook opens up.
Well, it's a late snap, and he just throws it up to the end zone. Body's getting tangled up, and no penalty flag. And Fitzpatrick is looking at the official back there saying, you got to be kidding me. Dante Lovett in coverage. But that's going to do it for this drive on the fourth down.
For the most part, they've been letting him play all day. I mean, Moten gets his eyes around you. It's kind of a wrestling match. I mean, a lot of times you're calling that, but they've been fairly consistent today of letting him play. In fact, on the special catch, Christian Fitzpatrick's one-handed catch, he was kind of shoving the DB down as well. So as long as you're consistent, I don't mind that.
Well, that Lovett, he comes out of DeMatha High School in Maryland. He's only a sophomore. Got a chance to play as a true freshman last year in every game. So 2:51 to go. Graylow will stay in there.
Carrying play number 20, P.J. Graylow. Russell off the stop for Marshall.
Well, you thought at halftime, Max, you said, look, I want to see him run the ball. Just start running the ball. And that turned everything around.
I've been a part of offenses that have started the season slow, and sometimes you get a knack of trying to just force the issue and force the downfield passing attack. But at the end of the day, with what Virginia Tech has in the backfield, especially playing Marshall, who you would think you're out-manning, get to the ground game that certainly showed in the second half, and it'd be a huge reason why if Virginia Tech comes away with this thing that they won this game.
You know, I'm interested in something that you said earlier when you talk about coaches that'll start preaching to their teams over and over, we got to get into a better start to games. Well, that's going to be the same topic of conversation again this week. Let's circle back to that on the other side of this 2-minute timeout. 31-14, Virginia Tech. You're watching CW Football Saturday, brought to you by Pacific Life, creating financial security for
was executing on a fundamental level, getting back to their physical play, and that's exactly what they did here in the second half. Yes, they didn't get the slow start that they ideally wanted to get out to the fast start, I should say, but once they went back into that locker room, it was evident that they came out with an attitude and imposed their will upon Marshall throughout the final 2 quarters.
Trev, thank you very much. Brent Pry set to get his 11th career win as head coach of the Hokies, and this is his 3rd year. Big expectations here this season. Finished so strong last year, won their bowl game in a blowout over Tulane, returned 20 starters. We're getting guys back healthy that missed most, if not all, of last year. Malachi Thomas stays in the backfield and will carry it. Breaks it off to the left side, and he's up to the 30. And again, one more time to remind you, next Saturday night, prime time, 6:30, coming your way, the Ole Miss Rebels. They'll be ranked in the top 5 by the time we hit next Saturday. Going to Winston-Salem to battle Coach Clausen's Demon Deacons. I'd like to thank our producer, Scott Snyder, our director, Lonnie Dale. It is a real pleasure, a real honor to work with this entire crew. Most of this crew has been together for decades, covering Atlantic Coast Conference football, and that's not an exaggeration. Decades, headed up by Rob Reichley. But now, 2nd year in a row, home of CW Sports, and we're going to be with you each and every Saturday through the football season, the college basketball season. We'll be hanging around. So that's going to do it. Win number 1 of the season for Coach Pry and the Virginia Tech Hokies. 31-14, our final score. Longtime friends.